So my tinnitus is always a high-pitched ringing sound. Uh, uh, the best way I can imitate it is something like shh. It's kind of like there's crickets in the background, but it's kind of a constant. It doesn't go shh, shh, shh. It's just constant shh. So I've gotten used to it. It does occasionally get where it'll kind of and it'll turn up louder and then go back down. Uh, it's kind of like my ear sort of is making a little adjustment in there, and then it just kind of goes back to the way it was. Um, Even if it gets a little louder, I just kind of it's not really because I get adjusted to whatever that loudness is, and I don't have a problem. Um, I would say the main thing that I try to avoid is really loud music. Like going dancing isn't a big deal unless they have the really loud speakers. And I definitely feel like my tinnitus is louder after I get out of a place like that. So I pretty much avoid it because I kind of figure if anything that makes my tinnitus louder might not be good for the long term. So in a way, it's kind of a gauge. If something is makes my tinnitus worse, then don't do it. I sometimes will get a little bit of a clogged up feeling in my right ear, although the tinnitus can play on either side. And when I do, I don't do anything about it. I used to put eardrops in my ear, but I had my ears checked, and they said your ears are clear. You don't need to put anything in your ear, but just get a checkup every so often. May have them look inside. So I'm pretty well going by that. I can put my head underwater, and I don't feel too worried about that. Though I don't do it as much anymore. Like I don't go swimming as much. Maybe I should. I guess it's going to be summer. I like to take care of my skin. I'm getting a little older now, and you can see some wrinkles. So I don't want them to get worse. But I put the sunscreen on and everything, and I think I'll be okay. Going out in the sun, but that's another topic. What else about my tinnitus? I would say that when I say lay down and put like the pillow by my ear, it's not any worse. Or I'm gonna put the pillow all the way around my ears where it's really sorry, where I really can't hear. 1 second. So like this, and it's a good deal more noticeable. But I guess the way I tune it out now, it's like I quickly adjust to a change, and that's a change where I've muffled all sound around my ears, and I'll hear it, and then for a few seconds, and then my mind will just shift to something else, and then I won't think about it again. So maybe it's kind of like the sun and the moon. I've got two different faces of my tinnitus where, I could think about from the negative aspect, like the yin and the yang, or I could try to keep a positive aspect about it, and maybe these flames around the sun are as me shining. I hear the tinnitus, shh, and it shines forth, and it's my world, my beautiful world that I live in, the world of tinnitus. So, I guess I've learned to think about it as something that's not something that I worry about, and I don't mind it anymore. I always go back to this one video. I probably should try to look up the lady. I think she's maybe English or something like that. And when I was having such terrible anxiety about the tinnitus, I was watching her video where she was saying, if my tinnitus were to go away today, it wouldn't change anything about my life. And I thought, that's a load of crap. And there's no way. But I can make the same statement now. If it were to go away today, it wouldn't change my life. I mean, I would welcome it. It would be nice not to have it anymore. But in so many ways, I don't. It does not bother me, almost in the slightest. Does it bother me? Um, I've adjusted in the sense that I always play something in the background. I've got an air purifier that constantly runs in the room that I'm in a lot of the time, and that's kind of helpful. It just makes it a little less noticeable, and that makes it a little even easier to tune out. I I don't love just hanging out in the quietest of rooms. But I think even that I could do better. Maybe I'll work on that, in the future. But it's not a high priority right now. It's just like, why do something to torture myself? It seems like I've been progressing over the last 15 or 16 months, where I notice it less and less and less and less, and it's so wonderful. I would say in a way I always notice it every day, but it's like it's such a passing thought. It's such a like, oh, that, it doesn't matter at all. So, I hope that I'll be able to maintain this level of whatever you call it, habituation. So, and that's why I make these videos about it, because it really did torment me for several months, from January of last year until at least September. And I was taking medications for it. I had, along with it, I had some other anxiety problems, but the tinnitus certainly had to play a role in me having that anxiety. So, but I'm so fortunate in that I took the drugs. Zoloft was one, and I got better with the anxiety, and I got off the Zoloft. And how many months has it been now? It's been at least 4. Wait a second. This is going on May, so February, March, April. I guess it's been about 3 months since I've been completely off of it. But that last month or two, I was on such a small dose. It was getting to be negligible. So I almost say I've been off the Zoloft like 4 or 5 months. So enough to say that I don't think I'm going to need it again, because it takes a little while for it to wear off. And, I think it's got to be fully worn off now, and I don't need it, so that's great. I still take magnesium at night. They have gummies and they have a powder, and I think that's a pretty well proven thing to take for both getting good sleep and having reduced anxiety. So I highly recommend it, especially if you're continuing to have anxiety about tinnitus. If you're having an especially anxious day, you can take it in the middle of the day too. It won't put you to sleep, unless you are tired and maybe you need to sleep. But if you do use it for sleep, it's probably better to not use it during the daytime unless you absolutely need it, and just use it before you go to bed, maybe about 30 minutes or an hour before. I had taken melatonin. And I think it was more of a placebo. Oh, my tinnitus just peaked up a little bit. It got a little louder. And then I'm kind of adjusting to it now. So I don't know how to describe it, but sometimes it'll do that. And I don't know if melatonin does much, but maybe it was a placebo. But I took that, and I would take the magnesium. And before that, I would take a small amount of Ativan too. And I was on Zoloft, and I also took Seroquel. So at one point, I was on 3 drugs plus melatonin and magnesium. But I always tried my best for those prescription drugs to take the smallest amount possible. I think Seroquel is the worst one, where it can actually, something kinesis or something, I forget the name of it, but it can actually lead you to have uncontrollable muscle twitches that even after you stop taking the drug, you can have them the rest of your life. And that sounds pretty obnoxious. I didn't want to have that. But it sounds like it's mostly for people who take a much larger dose. But for Seroquel for sleep was the drug that finally helped me to get some sleep. I had gone months where I was averaging 3 hours of sleep. Some occasional nights, 0 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours. I might have a lucky night where I got 5, and very, very lucky 6, but those were rare, and it was usually 3, 3.5, 4, 2, like that. And it really had an impact on my body. We're talking 8 months like that, and I lost my I really lost it for a while, where I was mentally worn down, anxious, sort of paranoid about my future and my body and what the heck was wrong with me, with the tinnitus to go with all that. It was really awful. But finally, Seroquel, a prescription drug that can be pretty strong, finally helped me to go to sleep. But I always try to take less than the doctor told me. And then once I got to where I was sleeping, I micro cut out pieces of it. So I took smaller and smaller pieces and weaned myself off of it. The Ativan was a wonderful drug for the anxiety, but it can be highly addictive. So I always took like a quarter of the smallest tablet or half of the smallest tablet. And maybe when I was at my very worst, I took a whole tablet a few times. But as I read about it, I read, this is an addictive drug. Don't mess around with this. But it helped me to kind of just, it seemed like always in the evening I would get more anxious. So I would take it, and then it would just calm me down in the early evening. And then by sleep time, I would take the sleeping pill, the Seroquel, and then I would be able to go to sleep along with the melatonin and the magnesium. I would stretch at night too. So I did a lot of things to try to get myself less anxious, getting more sleep. I got to tell you, if you have tinnitus and you're having trouble sleeping, and it's going on every night like that, do something about it. Start with the things like melatonin and magnesium. And if that's not working, you can move up to things like Benadryl, and there's some other antihistamines that you can take that are over the counter that can help you to sleep. And if that's still not working, get the prescription. Don't plan on staying on it for a long time. But what'll happen is you will be able to get your body back to sleeping regularly. I would say if you're getting less than 6 hours of sleep a night on average, especially less than 5, but even less than 6, and this is consistent and going on for, months, a couple months or more, just do something about the sleep. Talk to the doctor, get the prescription, and get your sleep back in order. And study about what you need to do to sleep better. There's more to it than that. There's some, they call it cognitive behavioral therapy. And that's just basically some exercises with breathing and getting your thoughts in the right places, and some other techniques that'll help you to be able to relax and not have so much anxiety. So besides sleep, do something about your anxiety too. Study the anxiety. Study how you can, improve that situation as well. Because your tinnitus, may very well be more than just tinnitus. And your anxiety and lack of sleep causes the anxiety, and then the anxiety causes the noticing of the tinnitus, and then it's just a cycle that you have trouble breaking out of. So, take some time to study all three of these things, especially, that was my problem. You may have different problems than me, but sleep, anxiety, and tinnitus, study them, study what you can do about them. The thing about tinnitus is you can't do a lot about it. You can't do a lot about making it go away. Or as I've said many times, I'm probably just repeating myself, but you don't make it go away. You get where you don't notice it anymore. So in a way, it's gone away. And that's where I'm at now. If I think about it, I hear it, but it's just so has faded into the background as just a normal sound that I always hear. So I'm okay, and I hope some of these things, something I said might spark some idea. Like maybe if you've been watching my videos, you know, you think about maybe there's just some new way of thinking about it that might help you to find a better way that'll make it easier for you. So I think this is my longest video. I'm at 15 minutes, so I'll go ahead and upload this. And best wishes for you. See you.